Bear and the Tortoise. Well, that is a great fable, I suppose, but it reminds me of the 5G race. Bill, you just said something very important in your talk about security, and we'll focus just on the 5G aspects of it. Why don't you talk to that for a moment? We'll have a conversation.
Yeah, it's funny coming today because you hear, we're still trying to get the spectrum for 5G. We haven't got that sorted. Every day you hear of, the Huawei effect and the chip effect and the race, and we got to get 5G in. And it's like, guys, I've been around wireless a long time. You've got a lot of spectrum issue, you've got a lot of device issues and chip issues, but you've got to remember this is a different game. It's IoT, not just a phone. And those chips and the security of that are going to be dramatically important. 60% of the increase or more, 2.5 million malware attacks on IoT just this first half. So as we think about this, we've got to invert just away from what I'll call traditional telco thinking. And our government's doing that, as you can hear it. But if there's a race, let's race for a safe, secure future. I mean, we've talked about in Japan, 20 years ago, you got to tool your stuff for Japan. They had 30% of wireless. Well, let's tool it for the US and UK because you're not going to win in 5G without that. And that is a national security infrastructure issue.
Well, and I don't know much about security, but what I have learned is that you need to start with security. You have to build a culture of security, and it seems like that's not really happening with 5G. We're talking about the outcome.
Security is just now coming into the picture, so it's late.
Right.
Better late than never.
Right.
And I think that's the situation. It's like, the train of 5G and the marketing power of that for the carriers and the equipment providers and all the insatiable apps that want to demand that are all marketing that hype and creating a hubbub about it. The reality is 5G isn't here. The capacity isn't here, the devices aren't here, and they're certainly not here from a security framework perspective. And what we have to do in this government, between the FCC, NIST, and other security, is decide what is that security framework for IoT devices that are going to take advantage of this bandwidth and capability in apps, and same with the phones that are not an IoT device, but will be in this new framework.
So from an ACA member's perspective, what can they do to help? I know Bob Gessner's on the CISRIC, but what else can AC members do to help instill that culture of security?
Well, I'm already working with the same group you guys do with Alpine. Well, I've worked with them from the network operating side. They're working with you guys. I'm working on privacy and security through Alpine and because of my own company issue. But that group needs to make sure, what you guys do pretty well is don't get caught up in the big company hype of 5G. Let's go for the reality because you got to deliver to everyone, the unfortunate millions and hundreds of millions. And let's get it right before we get it wrong and find once you got it wrong in security, it goes wrong real quick and real bad.
Yeah, and you certainly showed that with your presentation today, Bill, and I really appreciate what you said, even if it's not something that I really want to hear.
That's okay. Fear less.
That's right. That's what you said your motto was, right?
Yeah, great.
Great. Well, Bill, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.